Yo, alright. You want to start it off?
Yes. What is up, my greasy gamers? We're back at it again.
Damn.
For podcast number 6, the Overkill podcast. I am Meta, and I'm here with Kirby.
Yo, it's your boy. I feel called out by you saying greasy gamers. It's not fair. That's not fair.
Yeah. We are here with episode 6 of the motherfucking Overkill podcast. Now, it's been real fun. Due to this podcast, I've been kind of expanding my horizons out into playing more games a little bit. And one of those games happened to be Battlefield 2042. Seemed to work all right for Kirby over here. You know, we share the same Wi-Fi and almost same computer specs. So it was kind of wild to me that whenever I opened up the game, I loaded in with a LMG, and I just burnt through my whole mag and could only seem to aim up and down. So all I could do was walk back and forth in a straight line. Tried restarting the PC, tried restarting the game, tried...
Didn't you have to,
basically...
delete and rename a game file or something like that?
Yeah, I Googled how to fix it, and someone said I had to, go into the files and delete and rename something. And I drew the line there, and I was like, you know what? I'm just not even going to deal with this shit.
Yeah.
Which I think is a fair response. Maybe not, but I think that's a fair response. Fuck that.
Yeah, and that solution that it gave you was from 2 years ago, so it's been going on for 2 years.
And
it hasn't been fixed.
Stupid.
So. Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was funny because I've had a few glitches and stuff with Battlefield 2042. One where I think they finally fixed this one, where you would die and then you would just be sitting on the ground and you couldn't get revived at all. Which is pretty... I mean, it's pretty good, you know.
It's a good game.
Best programming, 2024.
Yeah. So, after that, I tried to return it on Steam, and this would be the second time I've returned it, because the first time I bought it at the Super Mega Buttfuck Edition price of $110 or whatever. And then I returned it right before it went on sale for $10. So I got all my money back, and then I bought it again for $10. And then after opening it and trying to play it, I decided it wasn't even worth $10. They didn't give me the refund, but that's kind of expected. At least I got most of my money back.
Yeah. I mean, and if they fix it in the future, maybe it could be worth it.
I don't really hold out for it.
It really sucks because it is an online only game. So once the servers die, it's over. So but yeah.
Which is pretty unfortunate that it's still broken 2 years later. Is that right?
Yeah, 2 years, yeah. Almost 3 years.
So sad.
Yeah.
So sad.
Very tragic.
On a brighter note.
So instead of playing Battlefield, we went to play Valorant, and it was way better of an idea. It's not a great game, but it's passable, I'll say.
So true. Yeah, not a great game, but passable, and I think we've enjoyed it. I mean, I've had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I like Valorant. I think my favorite part is that it is very similar to Counter-Strike, but it has a lot of differences. I think it's a little easier to play. The abilities give people who have less aim skill a chance to get kills. And I also like how you have to play a different role within your team depending on like what character you play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my favorite's the what do they call it? Like controllers, the people who use smokes and stuff. Those are my favorite. And I know you like playing Neon.
I do. I like playing Omen and Neon. I forget what they call it. What her class is.
Duelist.
But, yeah, I don't really play any other duelists because they're a little bit too much like, MLG.
Sweaty gamers.
Yeah, there are a little too many like button presses for me. I like a little more simplicity in my characters. I don't want to have to press 1,000 buttons a minute. That's not really my goal. So yeah, and it's great because I think one thing that this has over CS:GO is it kind of combines CS:GO and Overwatch in a really beautiful way. Of like you were saying, the abilities kind of force you to play a particular way. Like with Neon, a lot of her run ability obviously always pushes you forward into the team. Her wall helps with that, with getting you in. Her stun is like comes out really quick and is just everything about her is just like pushing you forward and going fast and fast and fast. And even her ult with the movement speed increase and just overall damage, I mean, it's just always pushing you forward. Even things like Brim, Stone, where you're smoking off entrances, you're creating little fire, little Molotov spaces. Yeah, and like ulting people, either trapping them in a corner or killing them or forcing them to move. And then, of course, he has his thing where he can kind of buff up his team, but that's kind of the odd ability out. I feel like they just gave him so much control ability. They were like, all right, well, we have to give him something else. And so I think it's just a movement speed buff, isn't it? And a reload speed buff. Isn't that all that does?
Fire rate as well.
Fire rate. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's been, I think, the only ability that they've ever really touched for Brimstone in terms of the balancing, just because in like pro play, the fact that it is like movement speed, reload, and rate of fire buff, it's really good in pro play. Mm-hmm. So they've had to like adjust it a little bit here and there. And then I think his ultimate, where it's like that big just obliteration strike, where it's a cylinder of just fire that comes down. It's that ability. I think they've changed it to where it takes a little bit more points to get it. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I don't think his abilities have really changed.
No. But yeah, I mean, it's a great game, and it combines, I think, some of our favorite games. My main issue with CS:GO, most of CS:GO 2, is just kind of how it feels and all the changes they've made to it. It's just not the same game anymore. So you might as well just play Valorant instead. A little more casual. I think a little bit more enjoyable.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, I remember I think we played it in like early 2023. We started playing it, and we played it until probably I think around like mid 2023, and then I think we stopped playing it completely. And then we came back to it just like a few days ago. And even just returning to it, it has been actually pretty hard to learn the game. So it's not like a completely no skill gap game, but I think it is. I think out of all the games that are out right now, it's probably one of the best ones. It actually works, which helps a lot.
Ooh. Yeah, exactly. Which is truly tragic.
Truly tragic.
Speaking of good games, and I don't know anything about this, so I'm gonna let you take this.
So with Paper Mario, the developers of that game, Nintendo, and I don't remember what like studio makes it, but ever since Sticker Star in 2012. They've gone down this like rabbit hole of like trying to make Paper Mario a adventure game, and I think Origami King, the newest Paper Mario game, has been like really well received by the fans. Not like the original fans of like Paper Mario and Thousand Year Door, but
yeah, those people are probably long gone.
Yeah, but it is the best one out of like the Superstar Saga or whatever you want to call it. Like the 3 games that have come out after, or 2 games that have come after that one. But Bug Fables is in the style of Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door in the original, and it basically I've seen a little bit of like the starting part of it. I watched like a playthrough of it. And you start out, and you're this bug. Your party is basically Vi or V, however you want to say it, which is like a bee. And she's kind of like a hothead, I guess, or she's kind of like has like a lot of confidence, I guess. And I think it's like Cubo or something like that, or can't remember the other guy's name, but it's something with a K. And you start out in the Adventurers Guild, and the guy's like, you'll never be able to make it to get the, what is it, like the sapling, the everlasting sapling or something like that. And they're like, it's basically like the MacGuffin of the game, the thing that you want to get. And then you like go into a cave and you fight the first boss or whatever. Or like you fight the guy who like says you won't be able to adventure, and you like beat him, and he's like, wait a minute, maybe you can go on an adventure. And he's like, yeah, it's very cute.
Okay.
I've listened to the soundtrack, and it's really good. Like it's probably up there with the 1,000 Year Door. I think it takes a lot of like elements from that, but it has its own unique style, which is really helpful.
Okay.
And it's also, I think it was made by like 5 people out of South America, which is not a place that a lot of games come out of.
No.
So it's very interesting. I just wanted to talk about it here. Yeah, I haven't really tried it yet, but I've seen a lot of gameplay. I know me and Meta are not big RPG guys, but I think it is one game that we'd probably enjoy.
Yeah, because we definitely enjoyed the first Paper Mario, I'd say. I don't know if we ever beat 1,000 Year Door. I don't even know if we ever beat the first one, to be 100%. But we enjoyed it.
We didn't have the first one. The first one was on N64.
Oh, we only had 1,000 Year. Okay.
We only had 1,000
That's how little
Year.
I pay attention.
Well, we had Super Paper Mario on the Wii as well. But
is that different?
Yeah, it's different. It's like a 3D platformer, but it has like RPG elements where like you'll like stomp on the enemies and it'll show you numbers and stuff. But it's basically a 3D platformer. Yeah, I mean, I remember in 1,000 Year Door we got to like I forget what it was, like the tower of like 100 trials or something like that, where like it was just every floor was tougher and tougher enemies.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we ever beat the 1,000 Year Door. I know we got probably pretty far into it, but I don't think we ever beat it.
No. It was cool though. I enjoyed it. I always liked the combat system.
The art style. It's very good.
Yeah, even though we're not a big fan of like turn-based stuff, I think it's because it had you like interact with it while you were doing attacks.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just sitting there like watching a movie. Yeah.
Sleeper. Yeah.
Sleeper.
That's how I feel with a lot of RPGs. Just spamming the A button.
Oh, for fuck's sake, yeah. Speaking of games that have come out, especially indie games, relating to old classics, you've discovered this game, Spark the Electric Jester. Which, I'm not gonna lie, I think the main character is ugly as hell, but, yeah.
Yeah, the main character kind of looks like knights from Knights Enter the Dream.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird art style, but it's very. I think it is very like Sega in the early 90s or like later 90s, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And
100%.
it was just recommended to me on Steam, and I clicked on, I think it was the third one, and I was like, wow, this is really interesting. And then I looked at the second one, and the second one looks like a Sonic Adventure style one, and then the first one looks like a 2D Sonic game. I'm like, well, I was like, I gotta wish list all these games because they look fire.
They're looking like heat.
They are, bro.
Fair enough. And it seems like the first one is a 2D, the third one's a 3D, or the second one's a 3D, and the third one is a 3D.
Yeah.
Platformer.
Yep.
They look dope.
I mean,
if we'll have to buy them and play them, maybe report back.
If Sonic Team doesn't want to make Adventure 3, the fans will. And I think the second one is probably going to be that, Yeah. That heat.
All right, well, that's all we got. I mean, really on the indie front. I think we're going to get into the big stories now, especially since this podcast has is not a COD podcast anymore. Obviously, no, I'm just kidding. There's not enough going on with COD.
No, there isn't.
This is another topic we want to do for quite a while, and it is, which COD studio do we think is the best? We obviously know each other's answers, but we've tried to save a lot of the arguing for this. So yeah, you want to go first? You want me to go first, brother?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I think personally, Infinity Ward is the worst studio. Specifically, more recently, you've had Infinite Warfare, Ghost, Modern Warfare 2019, MW2. Just like their more recent output has just been absolute trash. Now, back in the day, I would have had a different answer. Sledgehammer, I think, is like a good middle studio. They'll give you like COD World War II and Vanguard, which are like, okay, and then they'll hit you with like the original MW3 and this new MW3. Mm-hmm. They'll just hit you out of nowhere with some heat. And then Treyarch, I think, is the best studio, even though I think Black Ops Cold War is obviously their worst release they had. They were also crunched for that one because Sledgehammer dropped the ball and basically gave Treyarch like whatever scraps they had and stuff, and they were just like, make Cold War. But Black Ops 4 was decent. Black Ops 3 with the custom zombies and just the regular zombies mode is really good. And then, I mean, Black Ops 2, obviously. And everything, I think everything else is pretty okay or good. Okay.
What? Well, first off, I think you don't like Sledgehammer because you're a bigot, but, it's such a diverse studio. I don't know how you
It's so woke.
How you don't love them, dude. Yeah, you're a bigot, dude. So wait. What would it have been back in the day?
I think
like
Infinity
Golden
Ward.
Age, like we talked about last episode.
Probably, yeah. I think Treyarch. I think it would be Treyarch, Infinity Ward, then Sledgehammer.
Okay. Damn. See, and this is where I think I disagree with you. I'll say
Sledgy did make the original Modern Warfare 3, so I don't know. It's hard. It's really hard to like choose.
Oh yeah, right? If we're talking multiplayer.
I think they made I'm pretty sure they only made the multiplayer though.
They did only make the multiplayer. So back in the day, I would have said Infinity Ward, Treyarch, and then Sledgehammer, because Sledgehammer really hadn't released much besides like the MW3 multiplayer, which is obviously my favorite. But MW3 overall was still made by Infinity Ward. It's kind of weird how all that works.
Yeah.
I kind of expected there to be a bigger kerfuffle over this. I think the only thing I disagree with is I think modern day, because I don't think there's too much we can argue with like back in the golden age, because Infinity Ward and Treyarch were basically making gold, every year.
I just think Black Ops 2 is a little bit better than Modern Warfare 3 and 2.
Okay.
So that's where I kind of like probably would say that Treyarch is better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Modern day though. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, my issue with giving, I just didn't like Black Ops 4 at all. Like, I don't know how far back we're going. God. I think, honestly, I still think Sledgehammer is, like, the worst. Because they have Vanguard and World War II under their belt, and they got fucking Advanced Warfare still, and I haven't forgotten about that.
Oh, yeah,
just because they made
true.
Warzone.
I forget.
Just because they made Warzone.
Actually, Raven made Warzone, by the way.
Oh!
Raven Software, yeah. Vanguard,
well,
Vanguard just added the weapons to it. That was the only thing they did.
Oh, I know the MW3 multiplayer also had Raven's help on it, too. Now, if we include Raven, I think Raven has come in clutch. Always.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a way to mess up a remaster.
Yeah.
And they made Modern Warfare Remastered. And then Activision basically mandated that they have loot boxes in it, which kind of ruined it. But I think like the original job they did there was great. It was just messed up by Activision, so
100%. And then here's an interesting question: if we're counting Raven, okay. Well, I guess I'll get in. Yeah, I guess if we're counting Raven,
yeah,
honestly,
into it.
Like if we're talking between you and I actually think Raven would probably be responsible for like the best COD experiences that we've had.
Yeah, I mean they made the original Warzone.
So honestly, Raven's goated for all time.
Remastered. Yeah, Modern Warfare Remastered, and then I think they helped out with Ghost and the original Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer, which I don't think Ghost is as bad.
I think Ghost got a bad rap back in the day. It's not like a great COD, but it's not horrible.
We had a decent time on it. And then
I never hated it during the day. Everyone always talks shit, but I was like, it's fine. Like I never was like a hater of it.
Yeah, there was just better games like Battlefield out at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Raven is obviously top of the pack, but we didn't include them. Modern day, you're probably right.
Like main studios, I think Raven's kind of like a side one. They help out like every once in a while.
That's probably why they come out on top, because they haven't had their hand in too many things to fuck up in the first place. So
yeah,
which is kind of what happens whenever you have a series that runs so long. I think today I would probably agree with you. Like modern day, I would probably say Treyarch, given
is the best. And Infinity Ward is in the middle.
Yeah, I'd probably go Treyarch, Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer, just because I actually really liked Vanguard. I think Vanguard's been my favorite out of the recent CODs. And I think it's the one I've even played the most, too. But maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think you did. You did put a lot of time into it. Surprisingly.
Yeah, Infinity Ward has been responsible for like Modern Warfare 2, right? The one in 20.
Yeah.
20.
Modern Warfare 22. That's what I call it. Just Modern Warfare 22, and then Modern Warfare 19. Yeah.
And then to be honest, I don't really know. So Sledgehammer has made Modern Warfare 3, right?
Yeah, the new one.
Yeah, the new one, the 23. So, I mean, look, I'll put it this way. I don't think they've atoned for their sins yet of World War II and Advanced Warfare, okay? Those have, to me, those have stained, those are just,
I don't know.
Those are fucking horrible.
I think World War II wasn't that bad. It was mid. I'll agree. It was mid.
No,
but it was not trash, bro.
It's not as bad as Ghost, though. Ghost
not
is better.
As bad as Ghost. You know what? I would actually agree with you on that because I think the Ghost campaign was at least interesting.
Dude, and then not only the multiplayer of Ghost felt better, the maps were better.
Ooh.
And
World War II fans
it
are
had
pissed.
no loot boxes.
Dude, they're pissed at you.
Well, the World War II fans aren't real. They don't exist. They're fake fans.
Wow.
Alright, you hear me? You hear me? Cancel me now. Alright, you've never played COD before this. You just took the pacifier out of your motherfucking mouth. Alright? And then you come in here and you tell me to like this shotgun!
Yeah. I remember like whenever I was in like middle or intermediate school, one kid, we were talking about like Call of Duty and like which one was our favorite. He's like,
yeah.
And he was like, Advanced Warfare is my favorite because it's my first Call of Duty and I loved it. And I was like, oh no, dude, Advanced Warfare is your favorite. Oh, dude.
Rest in peace.
Oh
gosh.
Yeah. I guess I could agree with you on the Sledgehammer being the worst. If we consider, because the thing is, if we consider like the modern era, like all the way back to 2014, whenever they came out with Advanced Warfare, they started the whole loot box thing.
Yeah, because that's what I kind of consider the modern era, is like all the way back until Advanced.
I'm not sure if it was them or it was probably Activision that wanted it, but they at least started it, you know?
Yeah.
So I could see that.
And I know it wasn't like the developer's fault, but you know.
But I mean, whenever I say modern,
still the studio's fault.
Yeah, whenever I say like modern, I mean like the Warzone era, or like after Modern Warfare 2019 at least.
Okay, then what do you consider 2014 to like 2019 then?
Oh, we're gonna get into the era talk. I consider 2014 to 2016 was Jetpack, and then World War II, Black Ops 4 is like the transition period to the Warzone era.
Oh my guy has transition periods? Holy hell.
Well, I don't know how would you categorize that?
I mean, I kind of categorize it as like
the loot box games.
Well, there's like okay.
It's true. They all had loot boxes. They could be the loot box games.
Yeah, I mean, that's not entirely wrong. I kind of consider it like, maybe you could say like classic to old school is like COD all the way up to like COD 3. And then we have the golden age from COD 4 to like Black Ops 2, like we talked about last time. And then what you're kind of talking about is what we're kind of talking about is maybe we'll throw Ghost in there. We'll say like Ghost to Black Ops 4, right?
It's the Dark Age.
I mean, that's what I have called it.
Okay.
But I don't know if the Dark Age is part of the Modern Age or not. I guess not. But I will say the Modern Age has kind of taken parts from the Golden Age and mixed it with the Dark Age, and that's why it's so mid. Like, the gameplay, they've tried to go back to the old school gameplay of, like, always boots on the ground and, like, the class system's kind of feeling similar, but they've kept all of the monetization and like battle pass systems and like operators and skin, just like all that trash they've kept. Which I know why, that's just modern gaming, but it's kind of like they've taken those two and they've mushed them together. That's how I've defined it.
Okay. Yeah, I would largely agree with that. I was just wondering how you would categorize it. I just like to break up the Dark Age into different eras because I guess I don't know. I like to break it up.
It could be both at the same time.
It could be.
Because there's just, a lot of those games. That was like the reason it's the Dark Age is because they were really experimenting. I mean, everyone had loved Black Ops 2, and then suddenly everyone started shitting on Ghost. And obviously these games begin development, like way, way before. Yeah. I think they probably begin development at least a year and a half or 2 years before.
Yeah, they do, because I remember during Ghost, they added, like, in Black Ops 2, they added a couple of, like, $2 camos, and these were, now granted, back in the day, $2, there was less inflation in the world, and
it was like, are you kidding me? $2 for skin?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was that bad, because these camos, whereas nowadays you buy a bundle and you get that camo, and if you change any of the attachments on the gun, it makes the gun look terrible. So you have to keep the attachments on it. This camo that you bought, you could apply it to any weapon in the game, and it would look basically the same on anything.
Yeah,
I could never see them doing that nowadays. For $2, hell no. It would be at least 10, probably 20.
The one that I always remember from that game is that was the first game where they had a weed camo. And it was just a black camo with little green weed leaves on it. I didn't even smoke weed or care about weed. I just always thought it was funny. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I remember. So, I mean, we kind of agree, we kind of disagree. Really, I think back in the day we would have gotten more heated about a debate like this. But honestly, COD is just so mid now.
Well, and the reason they gave for adding those camos was they said, these camos are kind of here to be like a little bit of content, even though they really weren't. Just something for you guys to have until Black Ops 3 comes out, because at that time, Black Ops 3 is being made, but also Advanced Warfare and Infinite Warfare are being made, because the studios basically came together and they said, we're going to make 3 jetpack games. And so that's why all 3 of those games came out. So yeah, these games are like years in development.
Yeah.
Before they come out.
And then what I've always found so weird about the Dark Ages, and this is why it really pollutes my view, is they Sledgehammer came back because it went Ghost, which was Infinity Ward, Advanced Warfare, which was Sledgehammer, and I'm talking overall, right? I know they help each other occasionally. Treyarch, which is Black Ops 3. Infinite Warfare, which we're back to Infinity Ward. And then we get Sledgehammer on COD World War II, which was, what happened is, Advanced Warfare and probably Black Ops 3 came out, and the studios realized that, like, a lot of their core fan base left. And they got kind of anxious, and so they're like, well, we're bringing back the old COD. Boots on the ground was their big thing in their announcement trailer.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, as a game, is World War II just horrendous? No, it functions, it works. It's like if you took, like in the movies, how they'll have like just a generic, no name, just like something that some guy made, like just showing on a screen and like having some character play it, and it looks vaguely like COD. It's just like a COD. It's supposed to be like a COD stand-in, so they don't get sued for copyright. That's what Modern Warfare. That's what World War II feels like to me, where they're like, "Oh, I see. These people want a fucking caricature of what this is," and so they kept in all the shitty monetization, a lot of the shitty just like practices and like philosophies, and they just threw it all into that game.
Yeah, actually, I think a better better name for that period would probably be stand-in, because the next game to come out was Black Ops 4, and what they did was they took all of the operators from the Black Ops 3 multiplayer that were iconic and people like, and they just basically took them and like aged them another like 10 or 15 or 20 years, and they were like, hey, these the same characters, guys, buy our game, please.
Yeah, like those two games were like a waiting period.
Yeah.
For Modern Warfare 2019 to come out.
Yeah, which
Which
I think we both agree it was not good.
No.
And then Warzone came out and saved it.
Yep. The maps are horrible. The guns felt bad. Warzone saved that game.
This is way too campy.
I think we're beating this into the ground.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll move on. Because we got a lot more topics to get on, and I got a big one here at the end. So
we're sounding like old heads arguing about which hip hop record is better.
Dude, we are.
Except it's Call of Duty.
Yo, for episode 10, we should just call it like the war episode and just have us argue about like each COD game.
We should do a tier list, actually.
Oh, that would be good. Yeah, we probably need to leave like 2 hours for that video. Because we'll probably be arguing for quite a bit. Anyways,
we'll need to do
we
it
got
on
an update.
We'll need to do it on a day off, I guess. Sorry.
No, okay, it doesn't need to be that long. Okay. No, you're good. We got an update, baby. Sweet Baby Inc. The Wokies, the video game Wokies, the consultancy firm that companies hire to make sure their game is sensitive enough and does not offend the snowflakes, okay? There has been a guy on Steam who has been very diplomatic, and I don't want to say his name or anything, but you can find it on Steam. It's called, he has a group called Sweet Baby Detector. Well, it's Sweet Baby Inc. Detector. INC. However, the bigger story is that this guy has made this group on Steam, and he is very diplomatic. He hasn't said anything hateful, anything bigoted, anything racist, anything, to disparage. All he says is he goes, this is a group to note which games have been touched by this consultancy firm. And what has happened is Sweet Baby has gone on the offensive, and one of their high-up employees, we'll keep her anonymous as well, has gone on Twitter and basically called to action all of their followers to go report the group, report the owner of the group on Steam for hate speech and harassment. What was the? I don't remember the official word she used. Maybe it was like discrimination or something. And it was. Sounds right. It was essentially go report this person, go report the group, and report their account since they care about it so much, right? And it really goes to show just how like tyrannical I think people like this are, and there are people on the right that are like this too, where you either believe what they believe or you die, and that's kind of what these people are about. Even the owner of the group on Steam is like, I'm not trying to like take down the company. It's just a marker for people to know that this game has been consulted on. So that's kind of the whole story. That's the major overview. There haven't been any updates that I'm aware of. We'll definitely check back in next week on this one because it's much more of something that I'm interested in since I like politics, I think, a little bit more.
I like politics too.
Yeah.
It's
interesting.
Yeah. I'm not going to shy away from it. I'm more right-leaning, and I like to listen to, like, right-leaning stuff. And I think I think that like the left is just way better at like mobilizing and getting together and just like using their resources to just push for things.
Oh, 1,000%.
And I think this is just an example of, especially, I think there are different like sects of the left, but I think they're a lot less divided, I think, than there are. Because like the right, you have more like libertarians, and then you have like right leaning people, and then you have like really far right people. There's a lot. I think there's a lot more even within those. There's different things, but I think they're just better at better at mobilizing. And with the Sweet Baby detector, I mean, I'll have to look into it. I might join the group just because. Is it like still on? It's still up?
I am going to join it. Let me try Sweet Baby.
While you're doing that, I think it's perfectly fine if you. I personally believe that everything that this company has touched is really bad. They've touched the Suicide Squad video game. They've touched Spider-Man 2, which was like mid at best. They've touched a lot of the Ubisoft games. A lot of a lot of the big publishers have been consulted by Sweet Baby.
Yeah.
I believe
1,000%.
even some of the Call of Duty devs have been listed. Like, I think Sledgehammer Games, I believe, was one of the consulting firms or consulting clients that they had. But yeah, we'll keep you updated on this. I don't know if there's much more to say.
So here's some updates. I guess that we have. It's actually called Sweet Baby Inc. Detected with no period. And that's INC. And I just sent you the link. So it seems like an update has occurred where it has sent a ton of people over to the group so they can start discussions. They say, you guys are pathetic for making and joining this group. Sweet Baby Inc. is the most important company. I don't get it. Sweet Baby Inc. makes the world a better place. Video games aren't for right-wingers. Sunlight is the best infectant. I don't get it. I think the I don't get it is the actual guy that created the group. Maybe the guy that made that post. But yeah, this is oh, here we go. I can see his name right here. His name is Cabrutus. Cabrutus is an admin.
Yeah. Based.
So, I assume that means he is the creator.
Yeah, he is.
It's kind of that's kind of what's happening. It seems like they've mobilized all of their angry gamers here. There are people in the chat room probably talking shit. Do I even want to join this? I don't know. I will let you, I guess, go on to the next story, and I'll see if I find anything interesting.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm looking through the comments too, dude. Those are some brutal, dude. Those are some brutal comments.
Shit show.
Yeah.
This is a shit show. Sorry, guys. Okay, I do have to read this post because it's funny. Video games are not for right-wingers. Sorry, guys. You are not the audience companies care about, nor the side that creates video games. Otherwise, you would not need to create groups like this. Damn.
Yeah. I just don't agree. I mean, video games are for everyone, bro. There's no one that should be excluded from that. And I think, especially, more recently, a lot of these games have been, politically, they've been, leaning more towards the left. And it is kind of, it's just annoying, I would say.
Yeah.
The only games that don't have like politics in them, I would say, is like Nintendo, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Lucky.
But yeah, I'm on to. I guess we'll go on to our next story, which is Sony. Sony laid off 900 people across all areas of their business. This includes
fucking got him.
This includes Insomniac, the Spider-Man 2 developers, Naughty Dog, of course, the Last of Us devs, and other studios have lost staff. I hope they go on to do better things. Hope they go on to make their own indie games and compete with, Spider-Man and Last of Us. And I think it's kind of funny because this story does kind of tie into the whole Sweet Baby thing. Because both of these studios, I think they lost staff. Whenever the head of Sony said it, they were like, "Oh, we're trying to innovate and create new business or whatever," and blah blah. I'm like, dude, you're not making money right now, and so you laid off 900 people. That's all you have to say.
Yeah, stop.
What happened?
Why you always lying?
And the reason you're losing money is because these games just suck, dude. They suck because Sweet Baby touched them, bro.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
It's actually true. actually accurate.
Is there much else to say?
Not really. I mean, Sony's just down bad now. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
I think they're more interested in making movies than video games because all their games, all their games are like that, like movie video games.
Yeah, they've given up on making real games, I think.
Yeah.
They're just interested in making the hardware. Yeah, I mean, I guess all three of these stories tied together. Should I go ahead and move on?
Yeah, you can move on, yeah.
It's probably going to be a long one from your boy. I've poured myself some tea for this one. So, as promised last week, I would look into GLAD and its report on those bigoted gamers, dude. They make me sick. And so I did. What I found is if you look at a lot of charity, so on the positives, if you look at a lot of the charity rating sites and at some of their tax returns and stuff, you will find that they raised around $20 million. It's not quite. And then around 30% of that is spent money on expenses pay. The CEO makes $500,000 a year. The co-CEO, the COO, makes $200,000 a year, and the director of something or other also makes $200,000. So it's not atrocious as far as paying their top people, and they have about a raised to spent ratio of 70% raised to 30% spent on expenses, operating expenses and stuff. So, not too bad. I also know that they've been around for about 30 years advocating for the LGBTQ community. I'm going to call them Rainbow community because it's shorter and it's easier. And I don't think that's offensive, but maybe I'm wrong. There is actually a lot of things that they have done during the AIDS crisis and getting gay marriage passed and all kinds of stuff like that. No matter how you feel about all that, that's been their main achievements along with some other rainbow organizations. Yeah. I'm going to try to be as good faith and understanding as possible. I'm not part of the rainbow gang. I don't have, in where we live, there's not too many rainbow gang around us. So I don't know, how to exactly word this, but I'm going to try my best. So, in their report, they had mentioned that 17% of gamers identify as rainbow. And only 2% of console video games include rainbow characters, which doesn't exactly match some of their other data points. But I'll get into that in a second. So 17% of gamers are rainbow. Their way of taking this survey is using people that are subscribed to them or have donated to them at some point, or somehow they have their phone number and they probably call them up and ask these questions. That's what I've gathered from how they get this data. Some of it's done with paper surveys, some of it's done over the phone. It's like any other organization. As soon as you give them money or give them your contact info, they're saving it forever and they're going to harass you forever unless you tell them to fuck off. So their data is skewed. They've also included a lot of interesting, just random data in there about how rainbow gamers play more single-player games and cooperative multiplayer games, and non-rainbow gamers play competitive multiplayer games more. And I believe their numbers on that were like it was like 60% rainbow, 40% non-rainbow play single player and cooperative, and then it was, it was the opposite for the competitive multiplayer, which is fun. I can totally believe that data. Where I kind of got a little confused on their website is they were talking a lot about how in games now you can choose characters or have side characters that can have rainbow relationships, especially in a lot of RPGs and things like that. What kind of confused me is they have this thing where they're talking about how 74% of rainbow gamers can be their true selves while gaming, and 66% allows them to express themselves in a way they don't feel comfortable in the real world. But then I have down here, they had this other stat that says, rainbow gamers are more likely to appreciate gaming as a way to experience different perspectives. So I kind of got confused. The question that they asked is, I like gaming that allows me to experience the perspectives of people different from myself. So...
Well, that's pretty broad.
Yeah, and I mean, the data spread between the rainbow and the non-rainbow is an 80 to 67%. I mean, yeah, of course, people don't mind playing games that are different from themselves. It's just an odd... it's just a kind of a contradiction of like questions and what they're trying to tell us. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was kind of confused on a lot of this data. And to kind of give some context, I guess a lot of my confusion came from 17% of gamers identify as rainbow, and I mean, that just doesn't... I'm sure it is a higher percentage in the gaming community than in other ones, but I can't imagine that it's, 17%. So I immediately looked into how they gather their data. And then, we kind of have... So we also have this 3 out of 4 rainbow gamers seek opportunities to explore their true selves through gaming, which is interesting because they also had that right below they want to play experiences, that are not like themselves, that are different from themselves. A super broad question. Once again, so now we have 3 out of 4 want to see their true selves in gaming. It just seems... I guess I'm just a little lost, but that's besides the point. what we get at the end of the report, and I'm going to read this verbatim because I think it kind of gets at what they really want through all these like data points and like real broad questions they asked. Whether you agree with it or disagree with it doesn't really matter. This is what they want. Overall, 30% of rainbow gamers state that video games help them discover their sexual orientation or gender identity. This number is even higher, 41%, for rainbow gamers of color. 44% report video games help them cope with the lack of rainbow acceptance in the real world. And 50% feel more accepted in gaming communities than where they live. These numbers are even higher among heavy/core rainbow gamers. So, I think what we kind of get as like a general overview of what they want. And they even mention this in the report. I should have pulled the direct quote out. But that first line where they say, you know, this has helped them discover their gender identity or whatever, that's... okay. What I'm trying to get at is this. They even said it earlier in the report that more games that would have, if more games had rainbow options and people and storylines, they really want storylines in gaming to have it. And then they want it represented more so that more people join the rainbow community. And they've said that in the report. And not only that, it just is such an odd thing because there's not a lot of games that have sex as the main, like, point. And a lot of the times there's not even romance involved. Like, is Helldiver number 1523869 trans or not? I don't know. Like, it doesn't mention it. It just doesn't. It just doesn't seem right. This is also coming from the same company that has made bold-faced claims about, media representing the rainbow people even less over the years, and that it's fading. They're trying to fade them out and get rid of them. This is the same people that make that claim, which we obviously know is not true. So, overall, I don't put too much stock in this report. I just really wanted to read through it, and it was very painful for me to read through it because of just how many, they just go stat after stat after stat after stat. And this is reading their PDF. It's like every sentence is some new question they asked and how they are interpreting the data. There wasn't like an overarching narrative other than need more games with rainbow people so there can be more rainbow people so the cycle can go on and on and on. It was a fascinating read only because it was written in such a circular way. And that's why this explanation sounds so circular. It's because it's hard not to make this circular whenever the source material keeps going in circles, saying the same thing over and over again, with sometimes opposing data. A little bit of a self-report, too, I think, from GLAD. It really shows that where they get their data from is not too accurate. They even have a thing here that, so this is between gamers 35 and 0, obviously. 13 plus gamers are 17%, 13 to 17, 28, 18 to 24 is 24%, 25 to 34 is 23%. Now we know, looking at general population data, that those numbers have to be really, really inflated. So I don't know, I just, even without me digging further in, you just know that this is asked to people that are already leaning this way.
Yeah. That's very odd that they, I just think it's odd that they want, more representation in games to try to, convert people. I don't know. To me, that's just very odd. That's, And
It is.
while I was reading it, like before you said anything, I was reading it and I was like, oh my, this is so many like statistics. It's a little too much of just them stating a bunch of things, and yeah, they were kind of contradicting. I was like, oh, this is.
Yeah, and the general populace is only about, like, on average, 6% rainbow people. Obviously, that's gone up over the years. Like, it's now at 6%. It used to be 2% back in the 90s, right? 1 to 2.
Yeah.
And I was kind of shocked by this because people on Reddit, which, as you know, is kind of a liberal shithole most of the time, of just like echo chambers and stuff. They never like want to challenge their own views. It's got people, this guy says games are a business and they make what sells the most copies, and most gamers, gay or straight, don't care about getting that stuff out of a game. It's not the medium that people go to for it. 100%.
Yeah, I would agree with that, yeah.
And then someone said, God damn it, when are we going to be done with the identity politics bullshit? 17 doesn't seem correct. They're still going. It doesn't take a genius to just immediately see where they got this.
I also wonder, just out of curiosity, I wonder if you ask like straight gamers if video games help them discover their sexual orientation or gender identity. I wonder. I bet it would be like 0 or like maybe 10% say yes.
Yeah. Well, and I think part of that does come from. So I have, because I went to college, I have some friends that are in the Rainbow Gang, and a lot of them are already depressed, or they are dealing with some sort of trauma, and so it would make sense that like if they're depressed, they have a lot of trauma, they probably don't have too many friends during the time, so they turn to games, and then they discover their identity or whatever. I don't know. I don't know if there's a correlation between all that, but that's kind of the general vibe that I've always gotten.
All right, same here. I mean, I have a few friends that are kind of like that are in that community. Not too many, but yeah, that seems to kind of be the vibe that I get too.
Yeah, like why do we need games to have like sex in them and sexuality stuff? Because I've been watching a lot of One Piece recently, and there's like a gay pirate captain, or he's like trans, I guess. He like injects hormones in himself and stuff. But like it's never mentioned that he's like sexual. He's just really, I mean, you can tell he's obviously sexual. He wears like basically a bikini. But he's never like doing anything super sexual. He's just really loud and rambunctious, and that's his whole character. But there's nothing like, oh, I'm so rainbow, guys. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like true data. I mean, who knew the organization that's all about rainbow rights would release a survey that is heavily skewed towards rainbow rights? You can find the same thing on the right with other things, and the same thing on the left, and the same thing on the up and down. It's just what happens whenever you have an organization. But yeah, that's all I got from that report. There wasn't too much else.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to get something juicier. Yeah, tried to get something juicier, but I could not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I got. That's it, boys. That's it for the episode 6.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're heading out.
Yeah. Y'all have a good night, day, wherever you're at.
Mm-hmm.
Peace.
Peace.